failure in that way is very hard.
Yeah.
Right? When you lose an election, I mean, it's hard because it is public. I mean, it's extremely public. It comes at the end of a very grueling, intense period of a campaign, which is pretty unforgiving. And because it's public, you're failing in front of your friends and your family. And you have a lot of responsibility for the other members of your party who, as a result of that loss, are no longer MPs. So their livelihoods, their job, the thing that gives them purpose is gone. And in many cases, that is not to do with the personal job that they have done.
Thank you.
Ye mat dena, chocolate dena. Don't have that. That's just like a protein thing, which is pretending to be healthy. Yeah.
That's your breakfast.
We need chocolate.
Okay, here we go. So it is hard, and it's I'd be lying if I didn't say it wasn't hard, and it takes some time to recover from. But then, for me, what got me through that period, including that bit, was just remembering why I did it. And that weekend when we talked about it just before I became Prime Minister, that situation was very tough. Inflation was at a 10-year high. My party was 36 points behind in the polls. There'd just been this leadership thing. And if you were just motivated by ambition and about winning and losing and position, then you would never have taken the job in the first place. I did the job because I felt at that moment it was my duty, because I was better placed I was well placed to make a difference to the country at a difficult time. And that's what we talked about that weekend. That's why I did it, knowing that it was going to be very tough. And when that finality of the tough moment came, it wasn't that it was any
easier in that.
It wasn't
moment,
any
right?
easier, but with the time, you're able to remember why you did it
and how you did it,
and to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, look, that was my dharma, and that was my job, that was my duty to do this, to do it to the best of my ability, and to focus on that. And as the Gita says, you don't enjoy the fruits and the outcomes, you focus on you doing your duty. And that is what ultimately gave me the strength to go through it and the strength to cope with the failure after it. And then in the fullness of time, we talked about this as well, it's important to draw the right stories from one's failure if you are going to grow from them. Because life is full of ups and downs in all walks of life. And you've got to use the failures and the setbacks to grow. So, and Akshat has helped me with this over time, is looking back on that overall period and making sure that I'm able to take away the things that I need to learn from it, and not the whole thing treat it as if I was some victim and just be filled with self-pity. Because if that's how you feel, you won't take any good lessons from it, and you won't grow as an individual. So that, to me, is how I got through. It's how it felt, which was not easy for all those reasons. How I dealt with it, and then hopefully how you can turn it into something that actually helps you in life rather than holds you back.
Is it easy to going back to be a corporate after all of this?
You're still an MP.
Well, I'm still in Parliament, and so that is my anchor and my foundation. It's where I get my fulfillment from week in, week out. It's enjoyable. It's enjoyable being in Parliament and not being, the person at the dispatch box having to deal with the problems. Sometimes it's actually nice to be able to ask the question. I'm enjoying that as well.
And in the future, is that what you will pursue, politics?
Yeah, as we talked about earlier, right? The future, who knows which direction it's going to take us.
Near future, yes.
I mean, the near future, that's where I am. Yeah, I'm in Parliament and staying in Parliament, and I've got we said, hope touch with 20 years ahead of me. And so and for the first time in a long time, I don't have an immediate thing that I'm gunning for. So we'll see where the future goes. But this goes back to the adaptability point we talked about. My own career is one where I've gone from finance and investing to politics and government. Now I'm spending more time in technology. This ability to adapt, to learn, to grow, that is the key trait. Right? And I don't know what the next chapter is going to be. It could be back to one of these. It could be something completely different. Who knows? But you've just got to be able to keep learning and adapting. And it's not just learning about new things, but learning from your failures so that you can hopefully succeed to higher heights and on the next thing you do.
Being curious about your failures, I would say.
Well, that's the point. I think it's important that the story that you tell yourself about why things didn't work is really important, and it's easy not to be curious enough about it and to assume it. I said you were the victim of circumstance, or you can, I said you have to be more
balanced.
Yeah, you have to allow them.
You can't say it's all my fault, but equally you can't say it's all someone else's fault, right?
Otherwise,
that's
you
the
cannot
balance.
engage.
Middle ground again.
Yeah, the middle path. Yeah.
You have to. You have to do that. So that is how I've.
Thank you.